Bos, coconut dua. Today I'm making kaya, so I need to buy 2 coconuts, a tray of eggs. See what else they have. Oh, okay. Whenever I do anything that needs some santan, this is the one I use. Kara. Yeah. Bos, telur satu tray, bos. I think we need 1 tray. They're still doing the coconut. Ingredients for the kaya. It's very important that you have everything fresh if possible. So, like mentioned, you definitely need a blender. This one will be used for the pandan leaf. This one will be used to make the kaya more buttery. This one's to beat everything together. You need about 50 gram of gula melaka, maybe 150 gram. 500 gram of fine sugar. 2 coconuts. Here I put 2 coconuts and 1 of this. Do plan to make it easier, you can just use kara. This is my favorite coconut, santan I mean. 10 eggs, you definitely need 10 eggs, and a lot of pandan leaf. This one will bring out the color and the fragrance. So this pandan leaf, I have 15 leaves, so always wash your eggs. Before you use your eggs, wash your eggs because it's very yucky, right? But don't wash it and store it in the fridge, because when you wash your eggs and you store in the fridge, it just open up the pores and it will spoil faster. So only wash your eggs before you use. That you need, I always have 2 stainless steel pots and also a kuali or anything that's big enough to hold one of these stainless steel pots. One will be for the egg and one will be for to mix it all together. Before start doing, always also remember to prepare your bottles first, and you want clean bottles that's already air dried, because if you want to store your kaya longer in the fridge, you need to have very clean and very dry air dried bottles. Okay, and boil a bit of water because you need order to extract the beautiful liquid. Okay, so now that you've boiled the water, so just let it settle for about a minute, then just pour around the coconut. Okay, so now that the coconut is not too hot, I probably left it about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Get ready with the pot that you're gonna cook the santan in, because you need to boil the santan a bit. So here comes the messy part, which is also the most important part of doing kaya. Basically, kaya is all about coconut and pandan leaf, right? These are the 2 main ingredients that you need in kaya. So take some, it's hot. Take some, put it in here. Cooking, just make sure it's clean. Squeeze it, and you can see that coconut comes out straight away. To squeeze coconut, some people just use their hands, some people use a presser, but I find a cloth is the easiest way, and it's so easy not only to squeeze it out, but it's easy to really get all the juice out, but also to throw away the used santan. I mean the used coconut. Okay. So now that's done, throw this away. So it's so easy to throw because all in the bag. Okay, don't need to worry about some of the coconut dropping into the liquid. I mean into this pot, because you have to sieve it anyway. So what I normally do is I'll just fold the leaf into a bunch like this. I'll start cutting. Cut about like 1 cm of strips. The hot water that you had just now, just pour around it. You probably use about, I don't know, 3 tablespoons maybe. Everything in. Okay, let's put this in. Okay, now that it has been blended to really fine. Okay, same thing as I did just now with my socks. I'll use my cup. There you go. This is my cup. It's me and my grandma. Okay, so put some of the blended. I can put all of it in. Okay, so now that I have the pandan inside the sauce, I'm gonna try squeeze it out. So that's how it's gonna be. So the pandan is important to bring out the smell, the flavor, and it smells great. Okay. Love the socks. All that hard work, you got about half a cup of pandan essence. I always find it easier to shred it with a chopper. You have to do it as fine as possible. Make sure your knife is really sharp. If not, you can't grate it fine, because you need it to be fine so that it cooks and melts easier. You know, if you can't find gula melaka, you can always just use brown sugar, but it will taste different, definitely. I'm so tired. So my friends asked me, why don't I make this and sell? No, I'm gonna put in so much effort to make a few bucks. It's not worth it. I'd rather just cook it and give it to people. It's more fun. It's love anyway. So here we are. Gula melaka shredded. Oh, so my sister taught me that before I do anything that involves egg and involves a lot of quantity of egg, always crack it in a bowl first. Check it. Only pour it in to main bowl, because you don't want to crack 8 eggs inside and to find out the 9th egg is rotten and everything's inside. You have to throw all the eggs out. So this egg looks good. 10 eggs, about 500 grams of fine sugar. Just pour it all in. Start to mix it all together. The egg and the sugar together until you don't really see the sugar anymore. The next thing I need to do now, while the water is boiling, let me show you while the water is boiling. Okay, I need to start also preparing the santan. So this kara, again, I only use kara for anything that involves santan, because I find they have one of the best santan. So put it on really small fire. You don't want too big. One of the worst things that you can do to your kaya is when you do your fire too big, it lumps up everything and ruins everything. This will caramelize the gula melaka. Stir it. This is the pandan essence. So while the coconut santan and the gula melaka is slowly cooking here, right, I'll start pouring all of the pandan essence into it. And this will create a very beautiful green color. So now just want to make sure, always do a temperature check. You do not want to boil your santan. In kaya, you need to make sure that you have dedicated time in the kitchen, because kaya involves a lot of stirring, because you do not want to overcook one part and the other part is not cooked and everything becomes curdled and it's not going to be creamy smooth. Okay, the next thing, always make sure that your wok that you have, because you're going to do double boiling, put it like this and it fits nicely. Just leave it there. Also check on your double boiler. You do not want the double boiler to hit 100 degrees, at least 90. and feel that all the gula melaka has dissolved and caramelized into the coconut. Let's pour it in. This is the main ingredient, which is the santan. Always use a sieve because there's some santan debris inside, right? So use a sieve. So this is where you pour in the gula melaka, the santan, as well as the pandan essence. Super important to check your water. Make sure it doesn't bubble. Just keep it at 90. You really want to just keep on stirring, because if you want to have it evenly cooked, very creamy, not really curdled, you don't want to have a burnt base of the kaya, just keep on stirring. And you probably need to stir for about an hour, and you can just like stir it for about a minute or 30 seconds. Just make sure the side is not cooked and curdled up. Then you can leave it for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, come back, stir again, then go do something for about 5-10 minutes, but don't be away from your kitchen. Right, then come back and stir again, and then you have to monitor the water, make sure it's not boiling. It's quite easy actually, you don't even need this, but this is a good gauge, but you just have to look at the water itself, make sure there's no bubbles popping out from the base. It means it's just boiling. You do not want boiling water, you just want sub-boiling, like around 90 degrees. To remind you, there is no shortcut in making really good kaya, seriously. You really just have to keep on stirring. I just left it for 5 minutes and the side already, like you can see here, some of the side here is already, the egg is overcooked, right? So I just need to make sure I just have to keep on stirring the side walls, because the double boiler will heat up the side of the wall and the middle here won't be cooked. So I definitely have to keep on stirring to ensure an even cook. I have a feeling my water is too hot, so I am gonna stop the fire for a while and but it's still cooking, so don't worry, just stop the fire for a while until the bubble stops and continue stirring. Then later I'll just on back the fire to continue cooking, because again, the slower you cook kaya, I always feel that the better it gets. No rushing this. No rushing this. It's santai and it's the most relaxing thing to do. No, it's not a race. No medal at the end. Don't need to bonk yourself. Just relax and stir. So when the temperature here goes to about 93, again I'll off the fire and just keep on stirring. This part is the crucial part, because as it thickens, you do not want to overcook the side. So you just have to keep on stirring. So it means after 30 minutes, you might want to give just a bit more attention to your kaya. It's going up to 89, 90. That's when I need to really monitor the fire. Cooking for 1 hour 15 minutes. I think it's more or less done. You know it's done when you look at it, like it curdles like this. When you start stirring it, it's relatively thick, and if you look at the side, it's all sticking to the side, it's evenly cooked. And when you do this, you can see the shape of the lines. And as long as you cook an hour to an hour 15 or even an hour 20 minutes, depends on the heat of your fire, it's more or less cooked already. Oof. Done. This is where you use the hand blender to blend it. See the lumps? Yeah, those are the lumps that you want to blend it. Don't worry if it looks a bit wet and liquidy, because kaya normally is a bit thick, because once you put it in the fridge, it will definitely harden. That's Vera. So now we're gonna leave the kaya to set, because it's still hot, so that's why it's a bit watery still, but it's actually cooked already. So we're just gonna leave it to set, and then it will probably leave about 10-15 minutes. 10 minutes. So once it cools down, we're gonna start putting it into the container and let it become cold. And just let it go to room temperature.
What about your finger, Papa?
I cut myself. I cut myself while washing the blender. I'm quite clumsy, you know.
You act like a clown.
So it's so nice and thick now. As it cools, it becomes thicker. But look at the green.
Green.
So nice and green, right? And it's snow artificial, like
Oh,
Shrek.
it's really hot now.
Yeah, maybe we don't call it Kaya. Maybe we call it
Kaya.
Shrek Jam.
Shrek Jam.
Shrek Jam. I'll call it Shrek Jam from now on.
If you don't go Shrek.
Let me explain about the storage of a Kaya. If you want the Kaya to remain nice and creamy, leave it in the fridge. Do not put it in the freezer. So it's good that when you make Kaya and you want to give it to your friends, you want to give it within that week and store it in the fridge, don't store it in the freezer, and then at least the Kaya remains creamy. But if you want to keep the Kaya for a long time and eat it later, you can put it in the freezer. But by putting it in the freezer, the Kaya you can store maybe about a year or less than a year, 6 months maybe. But it would not be creamy, it would be lumpy. And if you have your Kaya stored in the fridge, you can store it for at least 2 months. Try to eat it within 2 months. Okay, one of the best ways to enjoy Kaya is
Kaya biscuit. Biscuit.
Kaya biscuit. So, okay.
Or eat with bread. Or eat with bread. Right, Papa?
Yeah, bread, Kaya biscuit, toast. So, this is what's this? Corn biscuit.
But this one is.
Look at how creamy it is.
And this one is bread. Made by the rains, right, Papa?
Yeah. Here you go, Vera. Put down the can.
Yeah.
Okay. Eat on the table. Hey, you wanna? Okay. So, is it nice? Okay, here you go then. Nah. Yeah. So, thank you so much for watching the way I make Kaya. I hope it helps all of you. Please try this really easy recipe, but it takes a lot of effort and time. Yummy, right? So that you know, this is the biscuit that we eat with our biscuit, ping pong bang, which is ping pong biscuit. It's probably the best for Kaya. Right. So if this video helps you, do comment, do let me know if you actually tried this recipe and it worked for you. And if this helps you again, please like, share, and you also comment. No, like, share, and subscribe, because it will help my channel a lot and it will encourage me more to create more videos.
But I don't think the people saw that video sometimes.
I just hope everyone gets to see it. Everybody say bye!